Chapter 91 Baoyuan Dan, 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 91 Baoyuan Dan. Don't kill them, we still need their blood, come to the blood sacrifice teleportation array to enter the third area. Seeing that Luo Xiu was about to take action, Yan Yuer breathed a sigh of relief and reminded him, the man in the white shirt looked like a Confucian scholar, with a gentle manner and a humble attitude, but when he waved his hand, the aura of blood filled the air. The true energy was as scarlet as human blood and contained corrosive power. Yan Yuer was obviously right. What Wei Yungu was practicing must be some kind of evil skill that swallowed blood essence. This evil skill is called blood demon skill, which requires killing people and sucking their blood. It is extremely vicious and harmful to the world. However, when this blood demon Qi encounters the netherworld death flame, it is like throwing snow into the fire, and is instantly melted. Luo Xiu struck without mercy, slashing out the middle-grade earth-level war sword, and the blood demon's true energy was unable to withstand it at all. With a pop, blood spurted out, and Wei Yungu's head rolled away into the distance. Hot blood gushing out like a spring. Wei Yungu, who is at the 7th level of innate ability, kills him instantly with one sword. Only the God-refining realm martial sect could withstand Luo Xiu's fast sword with the help of his divine consciousness, and under the God of refining, unless oneself also cultivates a certain move to a perfect state, no one can block his sword. Seeing Wei Yungu being beheaded, the burly and strong man Baoyuan was so frightened that his liver and gallbladder burst. His first reaction was to turn around and run away, but as soon as he turned around, a black flame sword light rushed towards him, piercing the back of his head and cracking his brain. The 7 martial arts masters whose cultivation was abolished were frightened, but Yan Yuer frowned, because Luo Xiu killed these people. How to sacrifice the teleportation array with blood? Raising his hand to shake off the blood on the sword, Luo Xiu looked indifferently at the 7 martial arts masters whose cultivation had been abolished. In this secret realm of 10,000 monsters, there is no cultivation. Even if Luo Xiu doesn't kill them, these people will definitely not survive. The 7 martial arts masters were too nervous to take a breath for fear of angering the Shura god of death. No one wants to die, even if they are destined to be unable to survive in this secret realm of 10,000 monsters without cultivation. They can still live one more moment if they can. Although you killed 2 of them, these 7 people are enough for a blood sacrifice. Yan Yuer's voice was soft, but her words were cold. In order to enter the third area to find the resurrection grass to restore the soul's wounds, she would not hesitate to use blood sacrifice. Luo Xiu didn't say anything, because he also wanted to go to the third area to hunt monsters and obtain the god-level blood beads. According to Yan Yuer, even if he had the double moon demon jade in hand, without the god-level cultivation, unable to enter the third area, only through blood sacrifice can one make up for the lack of cultivation. These people are neither relatives nor friends of him, so Luo Xiu will naturally not let himself lose the opportunity to further his physical realm in order to save the lives of these people. The secret map was in the storage ring Yan Yuer gave him and was recorded on a jade slip. It had a clear route from the first area to the third area, as well as a partial overview of the fourth area. According to the route map on the secret map, headed by Luo Xiu, a group of people headed to the end of the second area. Along the way, there were countless monsters blocking the way. In just 3 days, Luo Xiu killed nearly 300 monsters, which was equivalent to killing nearly 100 every day. Because there was so much killing, as long as Luo Xiu released his breath, a faint blood-red light would emit from his body, which was the violent energy condensed from the killing energy. This murderous and violent aura has a deterrent effect. Under the oppression of the murderous and violent aura, ordinary monsters and warriors will become timid before fighting. During this journey of killing, Luo Xiu harvested more than 108 level blood beads. As we get closer and closer to the end of the second area, the monsters encountered on the road are getting stronger and stronger. Each of them is comparable to the 7th level of innate strength. Some of the powerful beast leaders are even comparable to great martial arts masters and even half-level warriors. Bu Lian Shen. All the 7 martial arts masters were crippled, and Yan Yuer was unable to take action. Luo Xiu was left alone, and it was gradually becoming difficult for him. When he finally reached the ancient altar at the end of the third area, Luo Xiu had disheveled hair and messy clothes. even though he looks embarrassed, there is a terrifying murderous aura lingering around him, and after a lot of fighting and training, his strength is constantly improving. Yan Yuer also has a clearer understanding of Luo Xiu's strength. This young man seems to be only 14 or 15 years old. With the third level of innate cultivation, he can be said to be an invincible hand under the god of refining, not to mention the top 10 of Tianwu Kingdom. The great aristocratic families, even the three most powerful superpowers, would never be able to cultivate such a genius. There are no monsters dormant near the teleportation altar in the second area. With the ancient altar as the center, a 10-mile radius is a safe zone. Before entering the third area, Luo Xiu prepared to swallow blood beads here to improve his physical realm. After all, the stronger he was, the greater his chances of survival in the third area. Since he had accepted Yan Yuer's storage ring, and since he had done the favor, he simply helped her to the end, and after entering the third area, he helped her find the resurrection grass. He took out Yan Yuer's storage ring, probed into it with his senses, and with a thought, hundreds of middle-grade vitality stones were scattered around. Immediately afterwards, Luo Xiu took out the 5th-level spirit gathering array disc, so that he could absorb the energy in the vitality stone more quickly and quickly improve his cultivation level. While running his skills to absorb vitality and practice, Luo Xiu took out another jade slip. What was recorded on this jade slip was the 8th-level martial arts that Yan Yuer mentioned. My senses penetrated into the jade slip, and the martial arts information recorded in it kept pouring into my mind. This martial arts, known as the 8th level, is called soul-condensing mysterious technique. It is a method of tempering the soul, condensing spiritual consciousness, and cultivating the soul. According to what Yan Yuer said, it was by virtue of this soul-condensing mystical skill that she understood the mystery of Lai Yan Wui in the realm of God refining. The stronger the soul and the stronger the spiritual consciousness, the easier it is to understand the artistic conception of martial arts, because the artistic conception of martial arts seems to be closely related to the martial arts soul and is an extension of the power of mind. Perception is an ability of mind power, while spiritual consciousness is the concentration of mind power, and Yuan Shen is the consolidation of mind power. This practice lasts for 7 days, because the effect of the innate level blood beads was no longer apparent. Luo Xiu's physical body did not break through to the advanced combat body after taking more than 100 blood beads, and was still far away from the peak combat body. With the help of hundreds of mid-grade vitality stones and 5th-level spirit gathering discs, his cultivation level has been upgraded to the 4th level of innateness. When it comes to martial arts, cultivation is the easiest to improve. As long as you have enough resources, talent, and time, it is not difficult to practice to a high level. It's just that as the level of cultivation becomes higher and higher, the level of resources required to improve the level of cultivation will also become higher and higher. That's why strong men above the Shenren Wuzong are so rare. In the Tianwu Kingdom, the Lianshan martial sect can sit in one city and rule the roost. The king of Wu can create a sect and dominate a county, and the powerful king of Wu can stand at the top of Tianwu Kingdom, overlooking the people. If he is a powerful martial emperor above martial lord, he can easily destroy the Tianwu Kingdom with one person. In the center of the ancient altar, Luo Xiu took out the double moon demon jade and poured it with true energy. The blood moon and silver moon rose slowly, reflecting each other. Yan Yuer had an expressionless face and struck out ruthlessly, killing the 7 martial artists who had lost their cultivation one by one. The essence and blood gathered into the sky and merged into 2 demon jade. Luo Xiu couldn't bear it, but he forced himself to become indifferent. There is nothing wrong with a person having good intentions, but it also depends on when. As a bright light flashed, Luo Xiu reached out and put away the 2 demon jade, and his and Yan Yuer's figures disappeared instantly and were teleported away. The 7 corpses that had lost all their essence and blood gradually became dim and blurry, until they completely disappeared, just like the monster beasts that condensed blood beads and disappeared, which was very strange. After appearing in the third area, Luo Xiu immediately spread his senses and found that there were no powerful monsters entrenched nearby. The third area is full of god-level monsters. Don't wander around. When he came here, Yan Yuer's expression became solemn. Although this Shura is very powerful and may be able to compete with ordinary god refiners, if it encounters a monster that is comparable to the third level of refiner gods or above, it will definitely not be able to resist it, and she couldn't use any strength at the moment. Once Shura couldn't resist, her fate could be imagined. Without Yan Yuer's reminder, Luo Xiu also knew the dangers involved. He immediately took out the secret map and found that in the secret map of the third area, there was a marked area where the resurrection grass was. In this secret realm of 10,000 monsters, the first area is full of Chi-level monster beasts, with the largest number, enough for hundreds of thousands, and the beasts can be seen everywhere. The second area is full of innate level monsters, with a relatively small number, but there are still hundreds of thousands. There are tens of thousands of god-level monsters in this third area, but because of the vast area, each monster has its own territory and the density is small. As long as you are careful, you don't have to worry about being besieged. Following the route of the secret map, Luo Xiu and Yan Yuer carefully walked through the dense woods. Suddenly, his steps suddenly stopped, and Yan Yuer immediately became alert and looked around with a wary look. She thought Luo Xiu suddenly stopped and must have sensed danger. There is a god-refining level monster ahead, with strength above the third level of god-refining. Let's go around it. Luo Xiu said slowly. He was indeed aware of the danger, but he did not notice it until the danger was approaching, but sensed it in advance. Yan Yuer glanced at Luo Xiu in surprise again. She found that this seemingly young guy was very mysterious and had all kinds of methods that she didn't even understand. It stands to reason that when the innate realm's perception detects a refining god-level monster, the monster's spiritual consciousness will also discover him. However, Luo Xiu did not use the soul perception of the innate realm, but the life and death beads induction of the breath of life. This induction would not be noticed by others. Along the way, Luo Xiu did not conflict with any of the monsters entrenched here. Sometimes he found ordinary god-level monsters that he could contend with, and he deliberately got out of the way. Instead of fighting, he just remembered the place where these monsters were entrenched. Lower position, according to Yan Yuer, as long as she can get the soul-reviving grass, even if it cannot be refined into a soul-reviving pill, it can still be effective in healing the damage to her soul and restore part of her strength. As long as her strength can be restored, she won't be afraid of most monsters in this third area. After 3 days, the two finally arrived at the area where the resurrection grass was marked on the secret map. I have been to the mysterious realm of 10,000 monsters before. The place where the resurrection grass grows is occupied by a fourth-level god-refining monster. Yan Yuer said this. She was once a strong warrior at the level of a martial lord, so she naturally looked down upon the fourth-grade resurrection grass, so she didn't pick it. The fourth level of god refining is beyond my reach. Luo Xiu frowned. He accepted the reward to help Yan Yuer find the resurrection grass, but he would not risk his death. Of course I won't let you die. You just need to lure the monster away, and I will sneak in and take away the resurrection grass. While talking, Yan Yuer took out a green jade bottle from her arms, handed it to Luo Xiu, and said, "There are 3 yuan dan inside. Taking one can increase your strength by 3 points in half an hour. In this small realm, with your ability, you can compete with that monster. Baoyuan Dan is a non-grade elixir. After taking it, any cultivation level can improve the strength of 3 small realms in half an hour. Of course, if the cultivation level is too high, the effect will be weakened. If it is a strong warrior at the Wujuan level, it can only improve the strength of a small realm at most. Even so, this Baoyuan Dan is extremely precious and is a great weapon in battle." The jade bottle had a hint of Yan Yuer's body temperature, and she obviously carried it close to her body. Although she gave the storage ring to Luo Xiu, all the real good things were carried by her. However, Luo Xiu didn't care. With this Baoyuan Dan, he was confident that he could compete with the 4th-level monster of the God Refiner. Luo Xiu was never a person who liked nonsense. He held a Baoyuan Dan in his mouth, leaving an afterimage of his body on the spot, and rushed towards the forest ahead. Roar! A furious beast's roar resounded like wind and clouds, big trees fell, and water waves surged into the sky. In this forest, there was a lake. A 30-foot-long monster with purple scales all over its body and a single horn on its head flew into the sky. Purple-scaled one-horned dragon. The moment Luo Xiu entered its territory, this monster beast rushed out angrily. It is said that the purple-scaled one-horned dragon has a thin trace of true dragon blood. If it can be promoted to the 7th level Martial Emperor level, it can shed its body and transform into real dragon. The moment the purple-scaled one-horned dragon appeared, Luo Xiu's expression suddenly changed. "Yenyuer, you dare to lie to me." Luo Xiu was shocked and angry. This purple-scaled one-horned dragon was indeed at the 4th level of God refining, but its strength was definitely infinitely more powerful than the ordinary 4th level of God refining. Previously, Yenyuer only said that it was a 4th level God refining monster, but did not say that the monster entrenched here was actually a purple-scaled one-horned dragon. The 30-foot 100-meter long body hovered in the air, a pair of huge scarlet eyes locked on the human ant below. The purple-scaled one-horned dragon opened its mouth, and a purple light condensed with demonic power shot toward Luo Xiu like lightning. Luo Xiu ran away. Even with the Baoyuan Dan, he was definitely no match for this monster. There was a loud bang, and the purple light exploded into a bottomless pit in the earth. The purple-scaled one-horned dragon pursued fiercely, and the dense forest was instantly destroyed and turned into a mess. Yenyuer heard the news of the battle and quickly entered the place where the purple-scaled one-horned dragon was entrenched, looking for the resurrection grass. Chapter 92, Purple-Scaled One-Horned Jiao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The speed of the purple-scaled one-horned dragon is very fast, and it can move on the wind, which is far beyond the comparison of Luo Xiu's 10 directions shadow body technique. Luo Xiu didn't escape very far before he was chased by the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Purple light flew in, enough to shatter his advanced combat body in an instant. Rolling on the spot, Luo Xiu avoided the purple light's attack. Amidst the roaring explosion, he bit into pieces of the Baoyuan Dan in his mouth. In an instant, a surging force burst out in the body, filling Luo Xiu's body with an unprecedented sense of power. A purple claw shrouded his head. Luo Xiu reached out to grab the sword, and with a clang, the middle-grade earth-level battle sword instantly struck it. A few drops of purple demon blood dripped down, and even with the power of a mid-level earth-level war sword, it could only leave a small wound on the claw of the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Of course, this is because Luo Xiu is not strong enough to bring out the power of a mid-level earth-level battle sword, but monster beasts are physically powerful. The demon body of this purple-scaled one-horned dragon can be said to be the limit of a peak battle body, infinitely close to a king-level battle body. Got it. The huge force from the purple dragon's claws made Luo Xiu groan. Blood bleeds from the corner of his mouth, and his body flew backwards, smashing a huge boulder into pieces. Even after taking the Baoyuan pill, he was still no match for the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Roar! That the purple-scaled one-horned dragon opened its mouth and roared. This time it spit out not purple light, but a blue thunder light. Xiantian changes. Luo Xiu used his secret technique to swing his sword hard. Even with 6 times the power, the battle sword in his hand still clanged and was struck by lightning and flew out. The power of thunder and lightning was transmitted to him through the battle sword. On his body, he was paralyzed, his skin was burnt black, and his internal organs were injured. This is the terrifying strength of the purple-scaled one-horned dragon, which is far beyond the comparison of ordinary god-level monsters. Escape! That this was the only thought that came to Luo Xiu's mind. He was no match for this monster beast. There were still 2 Baoyuan pills left, but he didn't dare to take them, otherwise the powerful medicine would burst his body's dantian. The direction he chose to escape was the lake where the purple-scaled one-horned dragon had previously occupied. He could only hope that the woman Yenyuer had recovered some of her strength with the help of the resurrection grass. In the process of frantically escaping, Luo Xiu would sometimes be overtaken by the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Every time he resisted the monster's attack, he would be injured. Within a moment, he would be covered in blood. From the time Luo Xiu lured the purple-scaled one-horned dragon away to the time he lured the monster back, it took about half an hour. On the shore of the lake, Yenyuer had absorbed the medicinal power of 3 resurrection grasses. The cracked sea of consciousness was wrapped in green light spots and gradually repaired. She pulled out another resurrection grass and chewed it directly into her mouth. The bitter concoction dispersed in her body. The strength she had lost due to the trauma was gradually beginning to return. While taking the resurrection grass, she took out several 5th-grade elixirs that she carried close to her body. Although it could not completely restore the damage to her soul, it was enough to restore her to the god-refining level. Roar, not just when she was recovering from her injuries at a critical moment, the roar of the purple-scaled one-horned dragon came from far and near. She opened her eyes and saw Luo Xiu running around in embarrassment, covered in blood, and was beaten by the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Jiao chases and kills. I'm sorry, it wasn't this monster that was entrenched here before, but a wind-chasing silver tiger. Seeing Luo Xiu like this, Yan Yue had an apology on her face. After all, when she discovered this place before, it was already decades ago. The wind-chasing silver tiger that originally entrenched here was probably killed by the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Dead or driven away. I can't stop it anymore. Have you recovered? Luo Xiu said loudly. Help me resist for a moment, and it will be over soon. Hearing this, Luo Xiu gritted his teeth, gathered the power of life and death between his palms, and suddenly turned around to face the purple-scaled one-horned dragon that was chasing him all the way. The seal of death and incarnation, that he pressed seals with his 10 fingers, and the power of life and death surged violently, turning into a 10-foot-sized reincarnation shadow that flew into the sky, containing endless mysteries, and crashed into the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. The purple-scaled one-horned dragon sprayed out purple light thunder, which shook the phantom of samsara, but it did not dissipate. Then it roared angrily, and hit the phantom of samsara directly with a single horn on its head. Boom! With a loud noise, the phantom of reincarnation exploded, and violent aftermath swept away. Luo Xiu flew backwards, blood spurting out wildly. The creation of the seal of life and death just now took away almost all of his cultivation. Ouch! The tyrannical purple-scaled one-horned dragon also let out a roar of severe pain. The flesh and blood on his head was blurred, injured by the power of the seals of life and death. Luo Xiu fell into a cloud of dust. He had been chased along the way. His body was injured and his cultivation was completely depleted. At this moment, he could not even move his fingers. The angry purple-scaled one-horned dragon's eyes were scarlet and filled with murderous intent. Its 30-foot 100-meter-long body swooped down from midair. It had a bloody mouth and ferocious teeth, as if it wanted to tear him into pieces. At this critical moment of life and death, a figure appeared in front of Luo Xiu, stretched out his jade hand, and struck at the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. The figure that appeared was naturally Yan Yue. Her jade hand seemed weak, but when she slapped it, blazing flames flew out fiercely, turning into a phantom of a fire phoenix. The purple-scaled one-horned dragon was blocked by the shadow of the fire phoenix, and the purple scales on its body were burned with a hissing sound. The flame cage, seal it. Yan Yue fluttered her fingers and pinched her fingers, and the raging flames turned into a cage, trapping the purple-scaled one-horned dragon in mid-air. The purple-scaled one-horned dragon roared angrily, but was unable to break through the cage of flames. Yan Yue's pretty face turned pale. When Luo Xiu was about to be killed, she resolutely stopped recovering from her injuries. At this moment, she made the soul injury that had just recovered a little almost burst. She was a principled person. She would never show mercy to those who should be killed. She did not hesitate to sacrifice human blood, which was cruel. However, she could not watch Luo Xiu die for repaying her kindness with evil. Even if the soul injury could never be recovered, she could not go against her martial arts heart. Condense the fire into a sword, cut. She raised her jade hand, and the raging fire condensed into a 100-foot flaming sword, which cut into the flaming cage. Puff! Blood splashed and flew, and a huge head fell from the sky. The purple demon blood was like a basin, and the body of the purple-scaled unicorn dragon fell to the ground fiercely, stirring up dust all over the sky. Seeing the purple-scaled one-horned dragon being killed, Luo Xiu finally breathed a sigh of relief, secretly thinking that he didn't have to die. At the same time, he was also surprised that Yan Yue had recovered so much strength in just a short while. However, just as this thought came to his mind, Yan Yue, who was standing in front of him, softened and fell on him. Her face was pale and bloodless, and her snow-white skin was even cracked, with a stream of blood constantly flowing out. Although her fingers could not move at all, Luo Xiu could use the life and death pearl to sense that the vitality in Yan Yue's body was constantly dissipating. Obviously, her strength had not recovered, but she was holding on to her injured body, regardless of the cost of self-damage, and killed the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Is it to save me? Luo Xiu's heart couldn't help but tremble slightly, an almost crazy idea grew in his heart. Luo Xiu endured the severe pain that was almost torn from his body, picked up Yan Yuer, and quickly left this place. The battle here will inevitably alarm other nearby spirit-refining monsters, but they are only safe for a moment due to the ferocity of the purple-scaled unicorn dragon, but it is not a long-term solution. Luo Xiu was already seriously injured, and with a crazy thought, he forced himself to run with Yan Yuer, but he did not escape far before he spit out another mouthful of blood and fell to the ground with black eyes. His injury was even more serious, and because his cultivation was exhausted, he could not use the power of life to repair the damaged life veins. But in this desperate situation, Luo Xiu's drowsy mind kept emerging with 9 pictures of the origin law of the wheel of life and death. His drowsy consciousness felt the endless mysterious flow. The wheel of life and death, which had stopped because of the exhaustion of true energy, suddenly started to operate in the Dantian, gushing out streams of pure life and death. The ultimate of death is life. When you are on the verge of serious injury and death, as long as you have a thought, you can survive in the dead state and break it and then stand up. The weak successor has awakened the immortal magical power. Inside the life and death pearl, the voice of the spirit of reincarnation was a little surprised. With its indifference to the common people, it actually had emotional fluctuations. It is a good opportunity to awaken the first magical power in the innate realm. The voice of the spirit of reincarnation murmured to itself, and then fell silent. Every successor it has experienced has awakened the immortal magical power. What surprised the spirit of reincarnation was that the master of this term could awaken the magical power in the innate realm. The most powerful successor in the past also awakened the immortal magical power in the martial lord realm. The magical power is the ability to communicate with the gods. It has the mystery and mysteries that ordinary people cannot guess. The so-called immortal magical power means that as long as there is still a breath, you will never die, and the wheels of life and death in the heavens will automatically rotate to recover from injuries, and can be broken and then re-established, with stronger strength, and the successor of the life and death pearl who wants to awaken this magical power must meet 2 conditions. First, one must be on the verge of death due to serious injury. Secondly, one must have a strong willpower to stimulate his own potential, so that he can have the conditions to awaken the immortal magic. Luo Xiu's almost crazy willpower to force his injured body to leave the battlefield, and he accidentally touched 2 major conditions. Consciousness is a subconscious self-protection when seriously injured. The wheel of life and death in the Dantian is running on its own, and his injuries are recovering at a very fast speed. Not long after, Luo Xiu suddenly opened his eyes, and all kinds of mysterious information about the immortal magic came to his mind. Does this count as a blessing after surviving a disaster? Luo Xiu's eyes showed joy. Not only is his injury recovering at a very fast speed, his cultivation is even constantly improving, directly reaching the 6th level of the innate. If I can often survive serious injuries, wouldn't the speed of my cultivation be against the sky? Luo Xiu's heart was full of amazement and shock. With this magic, as long as he doesn't die, the speed of his cultivation will break the rules. However, this immortal power is not invincible. It only improves the cultivation level. The body and realm still need to be cultivated and comprehended by oneself. Looking around, the perception is scattered, and there is no danger. Because he has awakened the immortal power, he has not been unconscious for too long. Yan Yuer is still in a coma, but the situation is not too bad. After all, with the help of the resurrection grass, she has repaired a little of the injury of the soul. Luo Xiu carried Yan Yuer on his back and immediately went to the lake where the purple-scaled unicorn dragon had been entrenched before. Although the purple-scaled unicorn dragon was dead, because of the ferocious power in the past, the nearby soul-refining monsters dared not easily set foot in this area. Luo Xiu first came to the lake and found that there were still 4 resurrection grasses left. He pulled up a resurrection grass, pinched Yan Yuer's chin, crushed the elixir, and dripped the juice into her mouth. Repeatedly, the 4 resurrection grasses were used up. When being chased by the purple-scaled one-horned dragon, he lost a mid-grade earth-level war sword, but Luo Xiu got a god-level blood bead. This blood bead was naturally formed after the purple-scaled one-horned dragon was beheaded. Chapter 93, Reverse Inference. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If we say that the essence of qi and blood contained in Xiantian-level blood beads is 10 times that of qi-level blood beads, then the god-level blood bead in Luo Xiu's hand is 30 times more powerful than the innate-level blood bead. This difference in multiples actually indicates the gap between the god-refining realm and the Xiantian realm. The difference in strength is more than 30 times. Innateness and refining the gods are a huge watershed. When one reaches the realm of refining the gods, he is called a martial arts master, which means a master of martial arts. For a strong person in this realm, the soul perception will further condense and transform into divine consciousness, and the innate true energy will also sublimate and transform into true essence. Not only that, but starting from the realm of refining gods, warriors have the ability to fly in the sky. Luo Xiu did not swallow the god-level blood bead now because the energy contained in this blood bead was too huge and it would take time for him to refine it. At this moment, Yuer was unconscious and the third area was full of dangers. He didn't know how long the purple-scaled one-horned dragon could last for a long time. He searched around the lake and found 3 more resurrection plants. These 3 plants were also crushed by him, and the concoction dripped into Yuer's mouth. I still don't know how to leave this secret realm of 10,000 demons. Sitting next to Yuer, Luo Xiu took out the double moon demon jade and murmured to himself, with 7 resurrection grasses in succession, Yuer's condition gradually stabilized, and the damage to her soul was slowly repaired. It's a pity that the resurrection grass is only a 4th-grade elixir after all. For the consciousness of her martial lord-level powerhouse, the repair effect is not obvious, and complete recovery is simply impossible. It's hard to imagine who she was fighting with, and her soul was severely damaged. 3 days later, the god-level monsters entrenched in other nearby areas began to move around. They discovered that the aura of the purple-scaled one-horned dragon had disappeared, and a few bold monsters released their spiritual consciousness and explored the lake. Luo Xiu was practicing the soul-condensing mysterious technique to temper his soul perception, and he was keenly aware of it the moment the god-level monster beast's consciousness swept over him, and just in time, Yuer, who was in a coma, also woke up at this moment, and a powerful spiritual consciousness emitted from her body, instantly crushing the several demonic beasts' spiritual consciousness that came over. Several god-level monsters hiding in the nearby area all looked frightened. Although the purple-scaled one-horned dragon was dead, it seemed that a more powerful existence occupied the lake. Being able to kill the purple-scaled one-horned dragon shows that the new owner of the lake area is stronger, which makes them all dare not move rashly. Seeing Yuer wake up, Luo Xiu's eyes shrank. To be honest, he didn't know how this woman would treat him when she regained her strength. The aura emanating from her now was even stronger than that of Lu Feichen, the original leader of the Ziyuewei sect. 9th level of God refining, half-step martial king. Compared with Yuer's powerful cultivation in the martial lord realm in the past, half-step martial king, 9th level of God refining is nothing. Yuer glanced at Luo Xiu, but then her pretty face changed slightly. When I was in a coma, you gave me the resurrection grass? Yuer asked with a frown. Yes. Luo Xiu replied directly. How many plants? 7 plants. After simple questions and answers, the strangeness of Yuer's body became more and more obvious. You actually gave me 7 resurrection grasses? Yuer stared at Luo Xiu angrily, and the strange feeling in his heart became stronger and stronger. The resurrection grass has the effect of healing the sea of soul consciousness. It is a special elixir, but it contains a toxin similar to Xuanhuan powder. If the resurrection grass is used together with other elixirs to refine the soul resurrection pill, the toxins in the elixir will be neutralized and resolved by the other elixirs. If you take the concoction directly and the quantity is small, you can still suppress it with your cultivation will. However, this guy Shura actually gave her 7 strains. Adding in the 4 strains she had already used before, it was a total of 11 strains. The toxins contained in the 11 resurrection grasses are more powerful than Xuanhuan powder. Even if you are a chaste and fierce woman, you will fall into lust, and the detoxification method for this toxin is the same as that of Xuanhuan powder. which requires the most primitive sexual intercourse. Luo Xiu knew nothing about alchemy or elixirs, so he naturally didn't understand these taboos. Do you want to be with this guy? Yan Yue gritted her teeth and endured, and the movement of her true energy had no suppressive effect at all. Luo Xiu also saw that something was wrong with Yan Yue's situation. Although he was unattended, he could guess something from her appearance. Well, I didn't know this would happen. What should I do now? How can I help you? Luo Xiu said awkwardly. Yan Yue resisted the strange feeling. She also knew that Luo Xiu was trying to save her. If she hadn't taken so much resurrecting herbal juice, she would still be in a coma and would not be able to wake up so quickly. I'll try to see if I can detoxify you. Luo Xiu stepped forward, put his palm on Yan Yue's back, and transformed the power of life into her body, trying to refine the toxins in her body. The moment Luo Xiu put his palm on his back, a hint of pink appeared on his snow-white skin. Luo Xiu put aside his distracting thoughts and detected traces of red toxins flowing in the meridians in Yan Yue's body. The power of life turned into fire, wrapped in a trace of red poison, and Luo Xiu tried to see if it could be refined. However, before he could start, he was entangled by Yan Yue. Luo Xiu's first reaction was to struggle. Although this Yan Yue was extremely beautiful, if he really did that thing with her, there was no guarantee that he would not kill himself because of losing his virginity. However, with the strength of Luo Xiu's advanced combat body, he could not break free at all. Yan Yue had a peak combat body and had stronger brute force than him. Luo Xiu swore that this was definitely an unforgettable experience in his life. The power gap between the two sides was too big. I can't resist. I don't know how much time passed, but Yan Yue gradually regained consciousness and found that her clothes were in tatters and she was curled up in Luo Xiu's arms in an extremely ambiguous posture. When she thought of the life-threatening love affair the two had experienced before, her mind went blank. Luo Xiu has always been sober. As a man, what is happening now is really, Yan Yue has regained consciousness, which makes Luo Xiu a little uneasy. His body is stiff, and he doesn't know what to do. Should I tell her that I am the victim? Yan Yue probably figured out what happened before and after. Although there was frost on her pretty face, she didn't make any drastic move. This. Luo Xiu really didn't know what to say. He knew very well that Yan Yue was very dangerous at this moment, but the passionate debauchery immersed in lust was definitely something he would never forget. This is the first woman in his life, and the bright red plum blossoms blooming on the dirt ground confirm all this. The atmosphere suddenly became silent. Yan Yue's beautiful eyes had a chill in them, staring at Luo Xiu intently. I will be responsible for you. Although the process is a bit special, after all, you are already my woman. After taking a deep breath, Luo Xiu took the initiative to speak. I don't care who you were before, or what kind of person you were. Maybe you will think that I, a small innate martial artist, am not worthy of your status as a martial lord, but it won't take long for me to become a martial artist. You are even stronger. Luo Xiu said without any doubt, possessing the pearl of life and death, comprehending the wheel of life and death, and awakening the immortal power. Luo Xiu has absolute confidence. I have an enemy, and the enemy is far more powerful than you can imagine. Aren't you afraid? Yan Yue said in a cold voice. I'm not afraid. No matter who your enemy is, even if it's the Martial Emperor, Martial Lord, or even the Martial Emperor, I can kill for you because you are my woman. Luo Xiu said firmly. Yan Yue's eyes trembled slightly. She had lived in hatred for 300 years of her life, and she never thought that someone would make her feel moved. Although this man was still very weak, she could feel that he had no intention of lying to her. Give me a set of clothes. Yan Yue had no intention of continuing to dwell on this issue. Luo Xiu directly handed her the storage ring that originally belonged to her. After putting on a suit of clothes, Yan Yue said calmly, it's time for us to leave. She came to the secret realm of 10,000 demons for the resurrection grass. At this moment, her soul's injury had recovered by 30%. The medicinal power of the resurrection grass stopped here, and there was no point in staying here. Even though the damage to her soul had only healed by 30%, and her cultivation level had returned to the 9th level of God refining, there would be no danger as long as she did not encounter a strong person at the martial king level. To fully restore the cultivation strength, one needs the 6th grade elixir Yin Yang Soul Pill. Luo Xiu was also helpless. After all, his strength was still too weak, and there was an insurmountable gap between him and Yan Yuer. If a man is weaker than his woman, how can he have a future in this world where the strong in martial arts are respected? If I don't have the strength of the martial lord, I'm afraid that once I leave this secret realm of 10,000 monsters, there will be no possibility for the two of them to meet again. To leave the secret realm of 10,000 demons, you need to use the teleportation array on the ancient altar, return from the 3rd area to the 2nd area, and then return to the 1st area before you can leave. The altar teleportation array in the 3rd area needs to be activated by the God Refining Realm. At this moment, Yan Yuer has just recovered the God Refining Realm cultivation level, so there is no need for a blood sacrifice. Along the way, Yan Yuer used the power of thunder to forcibly break into the territory of more than a dozen god-level monsters, and hunted a total of 16 god-level blood beads. She handed these blood beads to Luo Xiu and said, "Blood beads can refine the body, but they can easily cause confusion in the blood of us human warriors, which will affect their future progress. It is best not to use too many." Yan Yuer didn't know that Luo Xiu was a special kind of bipolar body under the influence of the life and death bead. The monster breath of the blood bead would affect ordinary warriors, but his bipolar body of life and death would not. Chapter 94 I Want to Become Stronger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Perhaps because of the special relationship between the two, Luo Xiu felt a little guilty about Yan Yuer in his heart. After all, it was because his strength was so poor that even if he took the Baoyuan Dan, he could not resist the purple-scaled one-horned dragon. Yan Yuer would not fall into coma again just to save him, and perhaps the series of things that happened later would not have happened. From the 3rd area, transmission to the 2nd area, the 1st area, until they left the 10,000 demons secret realm and appeared in the Guanlei Mountains again, Luo Xiu and Yan Yuer remained silent to each other. "I gotta go." After coming out of the secret realm of 10,000 demons, Yan Yuer stood beside Luo Xiu, with some inexplicable and unspeakable meaning in her beautiful eyes. 300 years of solitude, devoted only to revenge for cultivation. After so many years, I never expected that such a ridiculous thing would happen with a young man. Luo Xiu's eyes trembled slightly. He wanted to stay, but there was no reason to stay. Her hatred was as deep as the sea. Although she didn't mention it to him, Luo Xiu could feel it, but he was too weak to help at all. "Is there still a day for us to meet?" Luo Xiu asked. "If one day you can reach the level of a martial lord, maybe there will be." While speaking, Yan Yuer took out the double moon demon jade and the secret map from the storage ring, handed it to Luo Xiu and said, "I won't give you the vitality stone for the time being. I'll keep it for use." Luo Xiu did not refuse the demon jade and the secret map, because the blood beads obtained by hunting monsters in the secret realm were of little use to ordinary warriors, but for him, they could improve the physical realm very quickly. "Shura, this shouldn't be your real name, right?" Yan Yuer suddenly asked. "My name is Luo Xiu. I still think the name, Shura, is a good one. He became famous by killing himself. Shura was bathed in blood. I don't know when I can use the blood of my enemies to pay homage to my dead mother." A trace of sadness flashed in Yan Yuer's beautiful eyes. In the past, she was a warrior-level warrior who dominated the world. Even with such strength, she could not take revenge, which showed how terrifying and powerful her enemy was. "If one day I gain strength, I will use the name of Shura to kill your enemies." Luo Xiu said. Yan Yuer was startled at first, then sighed softly, stood up on tiptoes, and pressed a gentle kiss on Luo Xiu's lips, then flew up into the air and disappeared into the sky of Guanlei Mountains. "Luo Xiu, see you again when we are destined." Luo Xiu felt a little melancholy. She was a martial lord. Even if her cultivation level fell due to the injury to her soul, she would eventually recover and look down on the world, but he is just a little innate, and he still has to work hard to break through to the God Refining Realm. Yan Yuer can fly across the sky, and no monster in the Guanlei mountain range dares to do anything wrong, but he, Luo Xiu, can only walk out on foot. The perception spread. And in the deep hinterland of the Guanlei Mountains, there were many god-level monsters. Dormant and entrenched, 3 days later, Luo Xiu walked out of the depths of the hinterland and arrived at the outskirts of the mountain range. The sky is already a little dark, and it will probably take another day before we can walk out of the Guanlei Mountains. Luo Xiu planned to find a safe place before dark and swallow a few blood beads to increase his physical strength. The figure passed through a small forest, and in Luo Xiu's perception, the auras of several human warriors appeared. He jumped up and landed on the branch of a thick tree. Although the sky was a little dark, he could still see a distance of more than 300 meters away. In a forest not far away, 5 figures sat cross-legged around a bonfire, with food roasting on the bonfire. Among these 5 people, 3 men and 2 women, one middle-aged man was the most alert. He seemed to have noticed the prying eyes. He stood up suddenly, turned back suddenly, and shouted coldly, "Who is it?" Seeing the middle-aged man's actions, the other 3 people around him also became alert. Among them, a girl who looked young was the most nervous, with her eyes looking around. The middle-aged man's vigilance surprised Luo Xiu. He was obviously a hunter with rich experience. "I'm just passing by, I don't mean any harm." Luo Xiu jumped down from the tree trunk and walked over. The slightly childish face of the young man seemed to make these people relax their vigilance slightly, but the middle-aged man at the head frowned and asked, "What can I do, little brother?" In the barren mountains and forests, killings can be seen everywhere. Every experienced hunter has struggled step by step from the edge of life and death, regardless of whether the young man in front of him has malicious intentions or not. The middle-aged man does not want to interact with strangers in the wild unless necessary. "Uncle Yang, you are too careful. He looks about the same age as me." The young girl in the team muttered. "Miss, you are too inexperienced in the world and don't know the dangers of the human heart." The middle-aged man said helplessly, but his eyes were always fixed on Luo Xiu's every move. Luo Xiu could understand the middle-aged man's caution, which was the guarantee for a qualified hunter to survive in the wild. "Excuse me, farewell." After clasping his fists and saying this, Luo Xiu jumped up and disappeared into the dim jungle. The hunter team of 5 people just now is the most common in the Guanlei Mountains. With Luo Xiu's eyesight, he can naturally see that the reason why the middle-aged man is so vigilant is probably because of the girl in the team. It can be seen from the middle-aged man's honorific title of Miss to the girl that the 4 of them probably brought the girl to the outskirts of the Guanlei Mountains for training. Without the protection of the middle-aged man and his group, it would be difficult for a girl like this who is not deeply involved in the world and has no experience to survive. The sky was getting dark, and Luo Xiu found a hidden tree hole nearby. This is the outskirts of the Guanlei Mountains, where the most powerful monsters that appear and lurk are innate level ones. However, Luo Xiu was not careless. He took out the 5th level defense array disc and embedded it with middle-grade vitality stones to prevent accidents from happening. In the tree hole, Luo Xiu sat cross-legged, took out hundreds of middle-grade vitality stones, and opened the 5th level spirit gathering array. Refining the body not only requires condensing qi and blood to temper the physical body, but also requires enough heaven and earth energy to enrich the body. He took out a god-level blood bead from the storage ring. In the past 3 days, Luo Xiu had taken 4 of the 17 god-level blood beads, and now he was 5th. Half an hour later, the 5th god-level blood bead was refined, and the mixed aura of monsters lingered in the body, but under the erosion of the power of life and death, it quickly disintegrated. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise suddenly came from the sky above the Guanlei Mountains, mixed with turbulent fluctuations of vitality. At this moment, both the monsters dormant in the jungle and the hunters hiding in the forest for the night were all looking into the sky with panic on their faces. In the dark night sky, 3 figures stood in the sky, 2 people on one side and 1 person on the other side, facing each other with majestic momentum. The single person was a woman, wearing a black tight-fitting military uniform, with a curvy body, flames surrounding her body, and long fiery red hair flying behind her head. Opposite her were 2 men, one of whom was tall and holding a sword, surrounded by tiny arcs of lightning. A man without a white beard, wearing a white scholar's uniform, surrounded by 9 palm-sized formation flags. Luo Xiu walked out of the tree hole, and when he saw the woman for the first time, his eyes suddenly froze. Yen Yuer. The two men opposite her, with their strong and majestic aura, were clearly warrior kings. Lei Weilong, Gongsun Qinji, how dare you two stop me? Yan Yuer shouted coldly with a frosty face. We were also acting under orders and were offended. Lei Weilong said in a deep voice. More than half a month ago, the three supreme elders of the Yan family ordered a search of the Guanlei Mountains to find your whereabouts. It is better for Tianfeng Wujuan to capture you without any help, so as not to hurt you. Gongsun Qinji said with a faint smile. If Tianfeng Wujuan didn't have any injuries to his soul, we wouldn't dare to stop him. However, your current cultivation level has fallen to the realm of refining gods. You are no match for the two of us. If I recover my cultivation, I will destroy your Leiwu sect and the entire Gongsun family. Yan Yuer's beautiful eyes were filled with murderous intent. Your betrayal of the Yan family is a capital crime. Whether you can survive or not is another matter. Since you are unwilling to surrender, I have no choice but to offend you. Gongsun Qinji snorted coldly, raised his hand and pointed, and the 9 formation flags surrounding him flew out. He immediately set up a formation in the air and shouted, Lei Weilong, why don't you do it? Lei Weilong flashed his body and rushed into the formation. The sword in his hand carried a crushing momentum, and the lightning shot out, slashing towards Yan Yuer. Seeing this scene, Luo Xiu was extremely anxious, but his cultivation level was too low to fly in the air, so he could only watch Yan Yuer being besieged by the two martial kings, and there was nothing he could do. Lei Weilong is the head of the Leiwu sect, and Gongsun Qinji is the head of the Gongsun family and a 5th level formation master. If one can reach the 5th level of the formation method, with the spiritual consciousness of King Wu, he can control the formation flags to set up formations to kill enemies, and his strength will be much stronger than that of King Wu of the same level. Lei Weilong and Gongsun Qinji are each powerful martial kings who are not weaker than when Xuanhuan, 2 martial king-level warriors took action, and their overwhelming force swept across the Guanlei Mountains below. Countless monsters and human warriors were all trembling with fear and fear. Boom! A figure fell from the sky like a meteor, and the aura of flames lingering around his body made Luo Xiu recognize it as Yan Yuer at a glance. Even though he was a martial lord, his cultivation level fell to the level of god refining due to the injury to his soul. Faced with the siege of 2 martial lords, he was ultimately defeated. Luo Xiu's heart trembled, and he immediately used the 10 directions afterimage body technique to its extreme, and flew towards the place where Yan Yuer fell. Gongsun Qinji controlled the formation flag with his spiritual consciousness and set up a trap to seal off the area to prevent Yan Yuer from escaping. Lei Weilong fell from the sky, with a trace of blood on his sword. It was he who injured Yan Yuer, the Tianfeng martial lord, in the fight just now. Tianfeng Wujuan is Yan Yuer's title. Each of the 10 Wujuan level experts in Tianwu Kingdom has his or her own title. Boom! The majestic flames suddenly rose in the mountain forest, illuminating the endless night. A huge shadow of a fire phoenix appeared in the sky, and Yan Yuer's figure rose slowly, surrounded by a terrifying aura of murder. There was blood on the corners of her mouth and bleeding from a stab wound on her waist. Lei Weilong, Gongsun Qinji, remember you too, you will regret it. Yan Yuer's tone was murderous, and she shot out a pair of plain hands, and the phantom of the fire phoenix roared and fluttered its wings. In an instant, the sky was filled with flames, and the dazzling fire made it impossible to look directly. No, she escaped. If she uses such strength, the injuries to her suppressed soul will inevitably recur. Let's pursue her. The flames gradually dissipated, and both Lei Weilong and Gongsun Qinji were disgraced, their clothes and hair scorched black, and they immediately flew into the sky and chased Yan Yuer in the direction where he had escaped. When Luo Xiu arrived, he only saw a mountain forest full of desolation, with traces of fire scorching black everywhere. Leiwu's sect, Gongsun family. Luo Xiu's eyes were filled with fierce murderous intent. He clenched his fists and wrote down the names of Lei Weilong and Gongsun Qinji. This feeling of being unable to protect his woman makes Luo Xiu unbearable. He urgently needs strength, strong strength. I want to be stronger. Chapter 95, Speaking Arrogantly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Without the life and death pearl, he might have lived a mediocre life and not come into contact with the many grievances and hatreds among martial artists. Maybe I will have children in that small village of Panchir town. There are too many possibilities in this world, but with the fusion of the life and death pearl, Luo Xiu has no way to choose his fate. Since you have chosen the path of martial arts, you are destined to kill all the way, either marching on the corpses and marching on high, or having your head stepped on and annihilated by all living beings. Once upon a time, Zhang Luoyang, who was born as a 9th-level martial artist, was filled with a sense of crisis and practiced desperately. Now he kills the 9th-level Xiantian like an ant. Even Go Hongyi, who was cultivated as a king of martial arts, was killed by him with a high price of 10 low-grade earth-level swords. But he had never felt as weak and humble as at this moment today. Not all enemies can be killed through the Hunters Guild's bounty. Strong martial kings such as Lei Weilong and Gongsun Qinji are far beyond Go Hongyi's comparison, and Luo Xiu cannot afford the reward. On the outskirts of the Guanlei Mountains, the battle between the martial king-level warriors spread like a violent storm. After swallowing and refining all 17 god-level blood beads, Luo Xiu's physical body finally reached the limit of an advanced combat body. He was only one step away from breaking through to the peak combat body. If his physical body could be cultivated to this point, he would be able to reach the peak combat body with only the physical body. With this power, he can defeat the martial arts master in the late stage of god refining. He has now reached the 6th level of Xiantian cultivation. With his advanced combat body, he can compete with the early stage of god refining. If he adds Baoyuan Dan, Xiantian transformation, and the seals of all life and death, he can even face the 4th level of god refining. Save. For a 6th level innate martial artist, such strength is unparalleled, but Luo Xiu felt that it was far from enough. He also needed stronger power. Luo Xiu did not leave the Guanlei Mountains, but went directly to the center of this mountain forest, the Guanlei Temple. Near the Guanlei Temple, a large number of warriors gather here every day. Each of them is innate or above, and they use the spread of sword intent here to hone their own martial arts. As soon as he stepped into this place, the fierce sword intent rushed towards his face. If he could not resist the pressure of the sword intent, the martial arts cultivator would collapse and die on the spot. Anyone who can cultivate to the innate realm of martial arts has a strong will. With the help of the pressure and sharpening of the sword's will, they can break through their limits and realize a higher state through the sword's will. This is a treasured place for understanding the realm of martial arts, but it is also full of dangers. If one goes too deep without power, the more powerful and terrifying sword intent will tear the martial artist into pieces. Generally, innate martial arts masters can only stop at the outermost perimeter. Only the Lianshan martial sect can go to the foot of the mountain, and the strong martial king can comprehend the meaning of the sword on the mountainside. As for the Guanlei Temple on the top of the mountain, it is said that only the powerful Wu Lord and a few powerful Wu Lords can enter. Luo Xiu did not stay outside and walked directly towards the foot of the mountain where Guanlei Temple was located. Seeing Luo Xiu's move, many martial arts cultivators who had comprehended the sword's intention on the periphery showed surprise, disdain, sarcasm, or gloating. Anyone who comes, stop here. My young master is here to comprehend the meaning of the sword. Don't disturb him. 7 or 8 martial arts cultivators blocked the front, and one of them shouted coldly at Luo Xiu who was walking over. These people are all innate martial arts masters. Behind them, a young man in a blue shirt is sitting cross-legged. There is a faint blue lightning flashing around him. It is obvious that he is practicing thunder attribute chi. In this Dohai County, only the Leiwu sect cultivates the thunder attribute chi. Luo Xiu narrowed his eyes slightly, and involuntarily remembered the scene last night when Lei Weilong, the leader of Leiwu sect, was surrounded by lightning arcs and injured Yan Yuer. In his eyes, a sharp murderous light flickered. If it were other warriors, they might have gone around, not wanting to offend the people of the Leiwu sect, but Luo Xiu ignored the threats in the other party's words and still walked forward. Presumptuous. In front, a 7th-level innate martial artist with a stern look on his face pulled out the sword from his waist with a clang. If you go any further, don't blame me for taking action. If it was the divine refining martial sect, they would not dare to stop it, but how dare a mere 6th-level innate martial artist dare to act so arrogantly? Roll. Luo Xiu's figure flashed, bringing up 9 afterimages. Almost instantly, he appeared in front of the speaking 7th-level innate martial artist and pointed out. This innate 7th-level martial artist was shocked, and his expression changed drastically. A seemingly ordinary finger made him feel irresistible, but then he roared angrily, swung his sword, and struck at the opponent's fingers. Luo Xiu's face was cold, but the innate martial artist and his companions nearby were sneering. If the young man didn't stop, his fingers would definitely be cut off with a knife. Chang! When the finger collided with the sword, there was no blood splattering, but the sound of iron and stone impacting, and sparks flying everywhere. There was a clicking sound, and the mid-level human-level sword cracked inch by inch, and the 7th-level innate martial artist spurted out a mouthful of blood with a look of horror on his face. This scene happened very quickly, and many martial arts practitioners who saw it with their own eyes were filled with shock. Body refining and martial arts. Cultivation, advanced combat body. Only a martial artist with an advanced combat body can achieve the ability to shatter a mid-level human-level sword with one finger. With an advanced combat body, one can defeat the Lianshan martial sect with just the power of the physical body. These 7 or 8 martial arts masters, relying on their status as Lei Wu sect disciples, are blocking other martial arts cultivators from passing here, which can be described as arrogant, but at this moment, there are people who are not afraid of the power of Lei Wu sect and hurt people without mercy. This is the outskirts near Guanlei Temple. Many innate martial arts masters look up one by one. The atmosphere is solemn and dead. You dare to touch our Lei Wu sect people, are you seeking death? Several innate martial arts masters nearby reacted and shouted at Luo Xiu with their eyes widened and ferocious expressions on their faces. So what about the people from the Lei Wu sect? Luo Xiu's cold eyes swept away. The ones who moved are the people from the Lei Wu sect. That the young man in blue shirt who was sitting cross-legged not far away to comprehend the meaning of the sword opened his eyes, frowned and looked here. Kill him if he disturbs my understanding of the sword. That the young man in blue shirt had an arrogant look on his face. Just because someone disturbed him from realizing the meaning of the sword, he opened his mouth to kill someone. Following his order, several innate martial masters immediately showed murderous intent, unsheathed their swords, and attacked Luo Xiu. At this time, no one cares about a fair duel with you. The scene where the mid-grade war sword shattered with one finger just now is enough to show that this person is not a trivial matter, and they must join forces to kill him. A sneer appeared at the corner of Luo Xiu's mouth, disdainfully. These people were just a mob, not even qualified to let him use his sword. Afterimages from all directions. Luo Xiu unfolded his body technique, like a fleeting shadow, and the 9 afterimages made it difficult to distinguish his true body. Bang! He put his foot on the chest of an innate martial artist, and the netherworld death flame destroyed the vital veins. The skin and flesh on the opponent's chest exploded, and blood spurted out and flew backwards. Immediately afterwards, Luo Xiu raised his hand and waved. The black flame sword energy swept across, and several innate martial arts masters vomited blood and flew backwards. He was alone, but like a tiger among sheep, he easily defeated 7 or 8 innate 7th-level martial arts masters. When the young man in blue shirt saw this scene, his eyes suddenly froze. After taking a look at the men lying on the ground, the young man in blue shirt was still sitting cross-legged and said coldly, "Because of your good strength, don't you take my Lei Wu sect seriously?" "So what?" Luo Xiu still answered like this, feeling the contempt and disdain for him in the other person's words. The young man in blue shirt showed an angry look on his face. "Did you know that my surname is Lei? That the surname Lei is the core direct descendant of Lei Wu sect, and all the sect leaders in the past generations also have the surname of Lei. In Dohai County, no one dares to offend the Lei family disciples, simply because the Lei family is the controller of the Lei Wu sect." When the young man in blue shirt said his surname was Lei, many innate martial arts masters in the outer area showed fear, which shows that the Lei family has great prestige in Dohai County. Just when the young man surnamed Lei thought that the other party would be afraid of him if he revealed his history, Luo Xiu suddenly laughed. "A member of the Lei family? Very good. I'll kill you first and get some interest back." Luo Xiu's murderous intent was not concealed at all, and he walked towards the young man in blue shirt. The young man in blue shirt finally changed his color. "Who is this young man in black robe? You actually don't take the Lei family seriously and really dare to kill yourself?" I saw Luo Xiu's figure flashing, and in the blink of an eye he was in front of the young man in blue shirt, and slapped his head with a palm, mercilessly. Go to hell! A sword appeared in the hand of the young man in blue shirt, bringing up the strong wind that broke through the air. A faint thunder light flashed and struck Luo Xiu's palm. Chang! The palm knife struck and made a crisp sound. A violent force was transmitted from the sword, causing the blue-shirt young man's body to shake, and he staggered back a few steps. The tiger's mouth cracked open and blood spilled out. The sword in the hands of the young man in blue shirt was a top-grade human-level sword. It was not shattered by Luo Xiu's palm. The sword only left a white mark on his palm. Luo Xiu was seen following up, using his fingers as swords to condense the nether death flame. The young man in blue raised his sword to block the sword's finger, and another fierce force came. The sword flew out of his hand, and the palm holding the sword was filled with blood. This made the blue-shirt young man's face full of horror, and he quickly retreated, but Luo Xiu's sword finger followed him like a shadow, unable to avoid it. Who are you? Why do you want to kill me? What grudge do I have against you? He roared, but Luo Xiu didn't answer him. There was only cold murderous intent in his eyes. The young man in blue shirt looked at the crowd around him, rolled his eyes, and immediately shouted, My father is the guardian of Lei Wu sect. If anyone can kill this man and save me, I, Lei Mayan, will be very grateful. He knew that he was no match for this young man in black robe, so he could only rely on his identity as a disciple of the Lei family to seek help. Stop! With the benefits promised by Lei Mayan, someone immediately stood up and showed his cultivation as a great martial artist. Under the god of refining, the great martial artist dominates with the 9th level of innateness. However, Luo Xiu turned a deaf ear to this. His sword finger emitted the condensed sword energy of the netherworld death flame, and with a puff, it pierced Lei Mayan's eyebrows. A bloody hole the size of a finger appeared between his eyebrows. Lei Mayan's body movement stopped abruptly, and he fell to the ground with a plop. The 9-level Xiantian martial arts master came rushing towards him. He was a middle-aged man with a slight beard on his face. Seeing Lei Mayan being killed, his face looked a little ugly. When Luo Xiu glanced at him coldly, the great martial artist snorted coldly, Your Excellency killed a disciple of the Lei family. Do you dare to leave his name? In his opinion, if this person dared to kill a disciple of the Lei family, he must have a good background. Roll! Luo Xiu shouted coldly, and rushed out with murderous intent. With a tragic blood color, the great martial artist was frightened by Luo Xiu's murderous intent, and his face changed drastically. Such a terrifying murderous intent showed that this man had killed countless innates. Because the more masters you kill, the more terrifying the murderous aura in your body will be. Luo Xiu didn't kill many people, but in the mysterious realm of 10,000 demons, Qi Hai and the innate demon beasts killed nearly 1,000, and then he condensed a bloody murderous aura. The murderer, Shura, scanning the surroundings with cold eyes, Luo Xiu said coldly, Tell the Lei family that one day, I will break through the Lei Wu sect and take the head of Lei Weilong. Break through Lei Wu sect and take the head of the leader of Lei Wu sect. Such words full of murderous intent came from the mouth of a boy who was only 14 or 15 years old. Many martial arts practitioners present felt extremely ridiculous. This is more than arrogance, more than arrogance. What kind of existence is the leader of the Lei Wu sect? A generation of martial kings dominates Dohai County. This young man really does not know what is good, and speaks arrogantly. Chapter 96, The Name of Shura. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Luo Xiu said these words, many martial arts cultivators had complicated expressions. Lei Weilong has gained great prestige in Dohai County. He is the most powerful person and the most powerful martial king in Dohai County. Even in the eyes of most people, what this young man in black robe said was extremely treasonous, and some people even wanted to kill him to please the Lei Wu sect. He is just a young boy of about 15 years old. Even with amazing strength, could he still be able to defeat a great martial artist? What's more, there were more than 1 or 2 great martial arts masters present, and there were even a few who were half-stepping into the realm of god refining. You are arrogant and arrogant enough. A newborn calf that is not afraid of tigers is certainly courageous, but it is also seeking death. that the great martial artist who had originally planned to save Lei Mian snorted coldly, turned over his hand and took out a spear. Wen Qiusheng, want to see how strong this young man like you is at speaking arrogant words. Luo Xiu looked coldly at Wen Qiusheng who was speaking. You want to kill me to please the Lei Wu sect. You are asking for death. That a teenage boy actually paid no attention to a great martial artist in the 9th level of Xiantian realm. The eyes of the people around him fell on Luo Xiu, and they all stared at each other. They really didn't know whether to say that this young man was arrogant and ignorant, or that he didn't know how to live or die. When Qiusheng smiled instead of getting angry, Wen has been practicing martial arts for 40 years. How can he be angry with a young boy like you? In the eyes of other people nearby, this young man who calls himself Shura is only a 6th level innate warrior. He killed Lei Mian, a 7th level innate warrior, with his advanced combat body. However, his strength is still far behind that of a great martial artist. It's simply ridiculous. Boy, how do you want to die? There was a joking look in Wen Qiusheng's eyes. You will regret it if you want to kill me to please the Lei Wu sect. Luo Xiu's expression was extremely indifferent. As he spoke, Luo Xiu glanced at the other people around him. Who else wants to kill me to please the Lei Wu sect? You can come out together, I will take it all today. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes froze. Could this young man have lost his mind and gone crazy? Does he dare to be more arrogant? Wen Qiusheng, who was opposite him, was also stunned. This black-robed boy was crazy. He must have been crazy. His gesture completely put the many innate martial arts masters in the eyes of him. Who did he think he was? A strong person from the refining god Wuzong. The movement here made several god-refining martial sects at the foot of the mountain who had sensed the sword's intention frown and look at them. How dare a mere 6th level innate ant be so frivolous? Many innate martial arts masters were surrounding. Luo Xiu stood proudly in the field. Today, he will be here, in the name of Shura, to announce to the world that he will break through the Lei Wu sect and take the head of Lei Weilong. You arrogant boy, go to hell. No need for others, one can kill you with just a raise of his hand. The brilliance of flame energy emerged from Wen Qiusheng's body. With a flick of his spear, the flames burned the air and rippled. A swift shot was delivered with a bang. Heat waves surged, and the great martial artist's aura formed a coercive pressure that swept around, making many nearby martial arts cultivators below the great martial master level feel the pressure, and Luo Xiu, under the pressure of this majestic momentum, seemed to be swallowed up by the flames at any time and turned into ashes. However, at this moment, a bloody murderous aura spread. Like a sharp sword, completely shattering the momentum of the great martial artist Wen Qiusheng. A palm stretched out, black flames gathered, and he raised his hand to pinch the sharpest tip of the spear. Advanced combat body physical realm, the crowd's eyes froze. Although Wen Qiusheng's spear was a mid-level human-level spear, with his cultivation level as a great martial artist, even a high-level combat body could break through the defense. After all, although the advanced combat body is strong, the Shura boy's cultivation level is not high and he cannot exert much power. Wen Qiusheng frantically activated the flame energy, and the spear buzzed and trembled, like a fire dragon about to wake up. Broken. Luo Xiu spat out the same word, and suddenly exerted force on his palms. There was a crisp sound, and the tip of the spear was crushed by him, and at this moment, Luo Xiu pointed out, and the black flame sword light was emanating. This finger was like activating a human-level high-grade war sword, as fast as thunder and lightning. Wen Qiusheng's movement stopped for a moment, and the fire energy surrounding his body was instantly extinguished. His eyes widened, and there was a shocking blood hole between his eyebrows. At this moment, everyone was trembling. What a strong body, what a fast sword. The physical body of a high-level combat body is like a high-grade human-level warrior, using his fingers as a sword. It is fast and indestructible, and can kill great martial arts masters smoothly. The sword of perfection. In terms of swordsmanship, this boy is comparable to many god-refining martial arts sects. Many people were shocked, because many of the god-refining martial arts sects were in a state of perfect martial arts, and those who could comprehend martial arts were all phoenix-feathered beings. A finger pointing to the sword really shocked the whole audience. The several god-refining martial sects at the foot of the mountain who realized the sword's intention were all amazed. A boy of about 15 years old, not only cultivated a high-level combat body, but also perfected the practice of a fast sword, killing a great martial artist instantly with one finger. Not to mention the Luo sect, the largest force in Dohai County. Even the major sects in the 6 states of Tianwu Kingdom may not have such a genius. There is no doubt that if such a genius grows up, he may one day be able to break through Lei Wumen and take the head of Lei Wei Longxiang. Among the surrounding crowd, there were a few people who originally wanted to kill the black-robed boy to please the Luo sect. At this moment, they were all looking at Wen Qiusheng's body lying on the ground in a daze. Some of these people are not as strong as Wen Qiusheng. If it were him just now, he would definitely be killed by this young man with one finger. Although this young man in black robe only has the 6th level of innate cultivation, his blood-red murderous aura is too terrifying, and his strength is even more terrifying. There are few people in the Shinran Wuzong who can compete with him, but when they thought that there were so many people present, and there was only one young man in black robe, these people's minds calmed down, and a sneer appeared in their eyes. "Whoever wants to kill me, come out." Luo Xiu stood proudly and looked around at the powerful men, looking domineering and arrogant. Half a year ago, he could only look up to Xiantian. Now, he kills Xiantian like a dog. Why should he hide his arrogance? To exist forever between this heaven and earth. Hu is so arrogant. 4 figures stepped out with murderous intent on their faces. Each of them was a great martial artist, no less powerful than Wen Qiusheng. The 4 people seemed to have discussed it, and they immediately took action as soon as they came up, killing Luo Xiu at the same time. "Kill!" Luo Xiu shouted softly, and the bloody murderous aura gathered from killing hundreds of innate demonic beasts was overwhelming and pressed towards the 4 great martial artists. At the same time, he stepped forward, taking 9 steps one after another. The 2 figures flew backwards in an instant, blood splattered, one's throat was pierced, and the other's heart was pierced. Everyone felt their hearts trembling. This was simply too crazy. 2 great martial arts masters were instantly killed when they met each other. Even the few masters present who were only half a step away from refining the gods had stern eyes. Even if it were them, they couldn't do it so neatly. While Luo Xiu killed 2 great martial artists, the attacks of the other 2 also fell on him. He practices fast swords and emphasizes killing with one strike. When killing an enemy, he only attacks and not defends, leaving no force behind. Even if it is a high-level combat body, the attack of the great martial artist cannot be underestimated. Luo Xiu groaned and took 3 steps back, suffering some internal injuries. He got hurt. Seeing this scene, the 2 great martial artists looked happy, not caring about the 2 companions who were killed, but before they could put away the smiles on their faces, the smiles were frozen on their faces forever. The battle sword behind Luo Xiu suddenly came out of its sheath, and the netherworld death flame condensed and erupted. A great martial artist was cut in half, and blood spurted out like a basin. As for the last great martial artist, he shattered the Tianling with a finger of his left hand. His sword is so fast that the innate martial artist's perception cannot respond at all. Only those who have mastered the divine consciousness above the level of God Refiner can capture the trajectory and speed of the sword. Within the body, the power of life and death transforms into the power of life, repairing damaged life veins. In just a moment, the injury sustained from the attack by the 2 great martial artists recovered as before. After killing 3 great martial artists one after another, all of whom were at the 9th level of innateness, the murderous aura in Luo Xiu's body became a little more intense. Even hunters who have been outside for many years rarely condense such strong murderous aura, because killing the same level will not condense murderous aura in the body. Only when one jumps over the level and kills an opponent who is stronger than oneself, the body will automatically develop. A fierce murderous aura was condensed. Those who can leapfrog the challenge are all geniuses, but even if they are geniuses, if they want to condense a substantial blood-colored murderous aura, how many opponents with stronger cultivation levels than themselves need to be killed to do this? You are young and frivolous, but your strength is amazing. You are very good. A cold voice sounded, and the speaker was a master who was halfway to the realm of God refining. This person's soul perception has transformed into divine consciousness. It's not a good thing for young people to be too arrogant. You have to pay the price for it. After half-step of spiritual training and condensing his spiritual consciousness, this person dared to stand up when Luo Xiu killed 3 great martial arts masters one after another, because he was not afraid of the unpredictable fast swords of gods and ghosts. No matter how fast your sword is, your spiritual consciousness can still capture the traces of speed, and you can also control the overall situation in the battle and see the fire clearly. This is the half-step of God refining. This person's name is Mo. He is a casual cultivator, half-step to the realm of God refining. Due to the search order issued by the Yan family, all the masters from the 3 major forces, Leiwu clan, Gongsun family, and Yongchang Pavilion, were sent out to search for Yan Yuer's whereabouts. Therefore, near the Guanlei Temple, the martial arts cultivators of the 3 major forces are all below the level of God refining. Otherwise, if on normal days, someone dares to say such arrogant words, any God-refining martial sect of Leiwu's sect can kill them with their hands. Kill this young man in black robe. Speaking of which, Luo Xiu also knew that there were no powerful people above the level of God refiner from the 3 major forces here, so he dared to be so high-profile. He is courageous, but he is not a fool. He will not do something that he knows will lead to death. Your sharp sword is of no use to me. This Mo was not talking nonsense. The aura on his body bloomed directly, and the white light surrounding him was as sharp as a sword. Metallic Qi is famous for its powerful attack power. Half-step God training is far more powerful than the 9th level martial artist. Even if Luo Xiu reaches the perfect state with a quick sword, he cannot make up for the gap in cultivation. Without saying a word, Luo Xiu took 1 step and punched out, even if he didn't need to draw his sword. Relying on the force-generating skills of Kuai Sword Ju, whether he was punching or palming, he would be as fast and powerful as a sword. Mo snorted coldly, gathered his true energy and used his palms against his fists. The gold-based true energy entangled and collided with the netherworld death flame, making a crackling sound. What a weird attack. Sensing a cold breath of death entering his body, Mo suddenly felt numbness in his palms as if he had lost consciousness, and his face changed slightly. As long as the strength is not too much greater than his own, the power of death can invisibly damage the opponent's life veins. Mo cannot understand the mystery of this weird method. Kill. Luo Xiu's murderous intention rose to the extreme. His sword was unsheathed and he struck out quickly. This sword not only condensed the nether death flame, but also his murderous intention seemed to be faintly integrated into this sword. I told you, your sharp sword is useless to me. Mo's consciousness locked on the sword, and he flashed, causing Luo Xiu's swift sword to miss. However, he was clearly not struck by the sword, but there was a sharp aura surrounding his body, making Mo feel as if his body was about to be torn apart. Is this the sword's intention? Mo's heart trembled, but he quickly rejected his guess, because if it was the sword intention, he would have been dead with the sword just now. The artistic conception of martial arts cannot be understood and mastered by innate minds, because the artistic conception of martial arts requires the power of spiritual consciousness to control. This means that the lowest threshold for comprehending and mastering the artistic conception of martial arts is the realm of refining the gods. At the moment just now, Luo Xiu integrated his murderous intention into his fast sword, because although he did not understand the sword's intention, he could touch the mystery of the sword's intention. Xiantian changes. Luo Xiu drew his sword again, but before the war sword could be slashed out, the bloody murderous aura was already fiercely thrown out, making Mo feel the stinging pain in his body, making him understand that although this young man has not yet mastered the sword's intention, he has already touched it. A hint of mystery. This sword was activated with 6 times the power of Xiantian transformation, and the black flame sword energy soared into the sky, carrying a terrifying momentum that destroyed and shattered everything. This sword was so fast that even the consciousness could not catch it. The air was torn open and it flashed away like a meteor. Chapter 97, Killing the God of Refining. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sword intent. It seems there is still something missing. The fusion of killing intent and fast sword allowed Luo Xiu to touch the prototype of sword intent. This sword brings the black flame light and comes instantly. It is domineering and sharp, and it is indestructible. Stop. I will no longer be your enemy. Under the impact of the bloody murderous intent, Mo Zhou groaned and retreated quickly. This sword could not be traced by his spiritual consciousness. He knew that he could not resist it. If he did not bow his head, he would become a dead soul under the sword. Seeing Mo Zhou retreating timidly, the crowd exclaimed. Mo Zhou, who was halfway to the realm of divine refining, actually bowed his head to a young man. This boy looks about 15 years old, right? A 15-year-old boy can defeat the Lianshan Wuzong. He is called a monster. If one day he enters the realm of King Wu, perhaps the strongest man in Dohai County will really change his hands. A sneer appeared at the corner of Luo Xiu's mouth, and the power of his sword continued unabated. You want to kill me to please Lei Wuman, but you are no match for me, but you want me to show mercy. How can there be such a good thing in the world? That before Luo Xiu could finish his words, the edge of the war sword had already pierced Mo Zhou's throat. The blood-stained war sword was pulled out. Mo Zhou fell to the ground, blood gurgling from the wound. Near Luo Xiu, the corpses of 3 great martial arts masters and a god-refining martial sect were lying around. The blood soaked the soil, which was thrilling to watch. Looking around, no one dared to look at him except for those few god-refining martial sects. Clang! The sword was returned to its sheath, and Luo Xiu walked away. The crowd made way for a passage, and no one dared to stop him. Several of the god-refining martial sects present were not from the Leiwu sect, and their eyes flickered as they stared at the leaving figure of the black-robed young man. If this boy is killed, he might be able to build some relationship with the Leiwu sect. There are also some Lianshan Wuzong who have their own arrogance and disdain to please the Leiwu sect. Luo Xiu didn't go very far from the vicinity of Guanlei Temple. In front of him, a middle-aged man in black clothes leaned against a big tree and stroked a rusty sword in his hand. The sword looked rusty and old, but it contained a hidden and sharp aura. Before his eyes even saw this person, Luo Xiu had already sensed his life breath, and the opponent's consciousness has already locked onto him hundreds of meters away. The consciousness locked on. This person is obviously a god-refining martial arts sect. I need a yuan refining pill. If I kill one of you, I can exchange it for a pill. That the man in black uttered a sentence coldly. His eyes were cold and ruthless, and his gaze was like a knife, piercing the heart. The refining pill is a 4th-grade elixir. Swallowing the refining pill can elevate martial arts masters below the 3rd level of refining god to a small realm. This kind of elixir is so precious that only alchemy masters trained by big forces can refine it. A few of them are in circulation, and the price is extremely high, which is definitely beyond the reach of ordinary Shen Lian Wuzong. As for collecting elixirs and asking the alchemist guild to refine them, not only are the elixirs hard to find, they are also expensive. Sensing the breath of life cannot determine the level of a martial artist's cultivation level. However, Luo Xiu has come into contact with many god-refining martial arts sects, and he can probably judge that the man in black in front of him has a level 1 cultivation level of god refining. Luo Xiu is not afraid of the first level of god refining. The man in black looked at Luo Xiu with cold eyes. It would be easy for me to kill you. The gap between refining gods and innate ones is beyond your imagination. The man in black no longer caressed the sword, but walked towards Luo Xiu with the sword in hand, refining the divine martial sect, refining the divine consciousness, condensing the true energy, and killing the innate like a dog. Do you want to show me how powerful you are? Maybe you will be the first martial artist to die in my hands. Luo Xiu said with a sneer. I, Hang Xiangqian, have been practicing martial arts for 43 years and have entered the realm of martial arts. If I lose to you with a little talent, wouldn't it be ridiculous? That the man in black smiled instead of angry, and appeared in front of Luo Xiu like lightning. The rusty sword brought out a sharp sword light and slashed towards Luo Xiu's chest. Luo Xiu unsheathed his war sword and blocked it with Hengjian. A surging force came from the sword, causing his body to fly backwards with a groan. The god-refining martial sect is indeed powerful. In terms of speed and strength, it is incomparable to the great martial master and the half-step god-refining sect. The opponent's sword skill realm, like his quick sword, is a perfect realm. In this regard, Luo Xiu does not take any advantage, and the other party also possesses spiritual consciousness and true energy, which can be said to be superior to him in all aspects of strength. The blow was knocked back, but a smile appeared on Luo Xiu's face. The stronger you are, the better. I'm afraid you are not strong enough. Bloody murderous intent bloomed, and Luo Xiu integrated his killing intent into his sword technique, forming the prototype of his sword intent. You actually touched a trace of sword intention. Unfortunately, it's not the real sword intention after all. Hang Xiangchen was startled at first, and then his sneer returned. His consciousness locked onto Luo Xiu, without fear of the oppression of bloody murderous intent. Although Luo Xiu's murderous intent is fierce, it can only pose an oppressive threat to martial arts cultivators below the level of the God Refiner. If he wants to have an impact on the God Refining martial sect, he must be able to kill the martial sect and condense a stronger murderous intent. This Hang Xiangchen is good at movement and is faster than Luo Xiu's Shifang afterimage. The rusty sword in his hand appears and disappears, and the attack trajectory is cunning and difficult to prevent. In just a short moment, Luo Xiu had been hit by several knives, his body was covered in blood, and his black robe was shredded into rags by the raging sword energy. Although he looked very embarrassed, Luo Xiu was in the physical realm of a high-level combat body after all, and it was not fatal to resist several swords. The Shifang residual shadow movement technique was fully deployed, and Luo Xiu tried his best to dodge the swords and lights. Hang Xiangchen got there first. He wants to exchange his life for a Yuan refining pill from Leiwu sect. If anyone competes with him, there will be a fight. This son's life may not be worth a Yuan refining pill. Since Hang Xiangchen takes action, let's give it to him. The two Shenlian Wuzong who followed all the way from Guanlei Temple saw that Hang Xiangchen had taken action and that the young man in black robe would be killed, so they quietly retreated. Within the range of life perception, the two God-refining martial sects gradually moved away until they disappeared within the range of perception. Luo Xiu's eyes flashed sharply. Since the person hiding in the dark has left, he no longer needs to keep his hand. In fact, he had already been secretly paying attention to the movements around him. The spy is gone, you can die. Hang Xiangchen laughed coldly. Boy, the reason why I didn't kill you is to prevent someone from sneaking up and snatching you. You are worth a Yuan refining pill. Suddenly, Hang Xiangchen's true energy exploded, and he slashed out with a sword, which was more powerful than every previous sword. Luo Xiu's eyes were cold. Facing this knife, he just turned his body slightly to avoid the vital point. With a pop, blood splattered, and the sword struck into the left shoulder, almost cutting off one of Luo Xiu's arms. Do you now know the difference between refining the gods and innate ones? Hang Xiangchen smiled sarcastically. In his opinion, it was normal for a small innate 6th-level person to be unable to avoid his attacks, but the next moment, Hang Xiangchen's pupils suddenly widened. A war sword penetrated his dantian at some unknown moment. This is impossible, my consciousness did not notice you drawing the sword. Looking down and seeing the sword penetrating his dantian, Hang Xiangchen felt the cultivation of the God-refining martial sect passing by rapidly. The dantian was broken, and all the 43 years of hard work were in vain. The power of Xuanhuan's secret technique increased 6-fold, and Wuzong's spiritual consciousness had no time to react. With a puff, Luo Xiu pulled out the sword, blood spurted out, and then the sword flashed and slit the throat of Hang Xiangchen, the God-refining martial arts sect. Putting away the opponent's storage ring, Luo Xiu threw out a ball of black flames to burn the body to ashes, then spread out his body skills and quickly left the place. Halfway through, he endured the severe pain, pulled out the sword stuck on his left shoulder, and used the power of life to seal the wound so that it would no longer bleed. Afterwards, Luo Xiu ran quickly through the mountains and forests, changing direction several times to prevent being followed. In Dohai County, Guanlei Mountains, a Shura appeared. The news spread like a gust of wind to Zhuixing City and even the entire Dohai County. Even the martial arts cultivators in Yunlong County heard that a young man who called himself Shura could instantly kill a great martial artist in half a step with his innate 6th-level cultivation. Refining God. The young Shura even threatened that one day he would break through the Leiwu sect and take the head of the leader of the Leiwu sect. After Lei Wuman heard the news, everyone in the family was extremely angry. Shura, in Dohai County City, Lu Mengyao, who was now a 1st-level innate martial artist, couldn't help but think of Luo Xiu after hearing about Shura. Luo Xiu, Shura. She didn't connect the two, she just thought of Luo Xiu because of the word Shura. when they parted, she remembered that Luo Xiu had not yet entered the innate world. In just a few months, no matter how fast Luo Xiu practiced, he could not reach the 6th level of Xiantian, not to mention killing a great martial artist in an instant and making a god in half a step. I have already cultivated to the level of Xiantian. If you had joined the Leiwu sect, you might have been able to advance to the level of Xiantian. At that time, after Luo Xiu entered Zuoxing City with himself and Uncle Lu, he left without saying goodbye. How are you doing now? Lying in front of the window, Lu Mengyao held her cheek in her hands and suddenly thought of every moment she spent with Luo Xiu. She thought about it carefully later and understood why Luo Xiu left without saying goodbye. It was also because he had told about his cultivation speed and he was worried that Uncle Lu would be detrimental to him. Uncle Lu is my father's life and death friend, so how can he do anything bad to you? Lu Mengyao sighed. Mengyao. The door was pushed open, and a middle-aged man walked in, looking at Lu Mengyao with a smile. Uncle Lu. Lu Mengyao called out and asked quickly, is there any news about Luo Xiu? Since Luo Xiu disappeared, she asked Lu Pengcheng to find his whereabouts. She believed that if she explained clearly to Luo Xiu, he would definitely be willing to join the Leiwu sect. Not yet, but don't worry, Uncle will try his best to find it. Lu Pengcheng said with a smile. In fact, he also suspected that the Shura who appeared in Guanlei Temple was Luo Xiu, but he didn't think that the young man who had not yet entered Xiantian would improve so quickly in strength. Perhaps it was just a coincidence that Shura and Luo Xiu were not the same person. Lu Pengcheng thought so in his heart. Ever since he learned that Luo Xiu had actually cultivated from the 2nd level of body refining to the Qi-Si realm in less than half a year, and had even leapfrogged and killed Go Jinchuan, who was an innate practitioner, Lu Pengcheng was certain that there was a secret in this young man. Maybe he got the inheritance from a strong person, maybe he practiced some kind of powerful martial arts, or maybe he had some kind of powerful treasure. No matter what the situation is, Lu Pengcheng feels that if he gets it, it will definitely be a good opportunity. Otherwise, why would Luo Xiu escape? His escape proves that there must be a secret in him. From Lu Menyao's mouth, Lu Pengcheng knew about the relationship between her and Luo Xiu. As long as Lu Mengyao was still in Leiwu sect, that boy might come sooner or later. Chapter 99 The Young Master of the Snow Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nowadays, Luo Xiu is no longer a fledgling boy, and he has a general understanding of the world of martial arts. The status of the 4 major guilds is transcendent, and the Hunters Guild is the leader of the 4 major guilds. It can be said that it has a pivotal position. The Tianwu Kingdom is just a small place in this world, and there are countless forces that are more powerful than the Tianwu Kingdom. As far as Luo Xiu knew, the most powerful force in the Tianwu Kingdom was the royal family of the Tianwu Kingdom, and there were strong men of the Wujun level sitting in charge. The strong man Wujun is invincible in Tianwu Kingdom and stands at the top. But in this world, he is insignificant. The major branches and branches of the Hunter Guild are spread all over the world, and its power can be imagined. In the Tianwu Kingdom, the Hunters Guild has extremely strict conditions for recruiting talented members. Although the Hunter Guild does not protect talented members, as long as you have high enough talents and abilities, you can obtain endless benefits from the guild and improve your own strength. Strength is the source and eternity of everything. A 15-year-old innate 8th level is a rare person. In a remote place like Tianwu Kingdom, the girl behind Xuanhuan is also 15 years old, named Lin Jiao, and is a talented member recruited by the Dohai County Hunters Guild branch. The 13 counties of Tianwu Kingdom only have a quota for 1 talented member. Lin Jiao can be valued by Xuanhuan, so her talent is naturally extraordinary. At the age of 15, he has an innate 7th level of cultivation, and all he has cultivated is 7th level martial arts. When Xuanhuan said that she was not as good as Luo Xiu in front of her, Lin Jiao was quite unconvinced, because since she was a child, no one among her peers could compare with her, and she had an arrogance in her heart that was not inferior to others. Wearing a long aqua blue dress, her embroidered eyebrows were slightly frowned. Although she was dissatisfied, she did not argue at this time. Xuanhuan naturally noticed Lin Jiao's dissatisfaction. The reason why he said she was inferior to Luo Xiu was not actually just because Luo Xiu's cultivation level was a small level higher than hers. You know, this Luo Xiu could instantly kill a great martial artist when he was at the 6th level of Xiantian, and he could kill half a step of the God Refiner. There are some clues to confirm that it seems that even Heng Xiangqian, who was in the realm of the God Refiner martial sect, died in his hands. As for Lin Jiao, although her talent was good, her strength was only equivalent to that of a great martial artist. Moreover, this Luo Xiu has an astonishing murderous spirit at a young age. He has obviously been fighting for a long time. This kind of person must have rich combat experience and methods. Xuanhuan personally confirmed Luo Xiu's cultivation strength and raised his genius level permission to the upper level of Huang level. With Luo Xiu's current permission, he could choose from 3 7th-grade martial arts, and Xuanhuan gave him a list. On this list, there are dozens of 7th-level martial arts, including exercises, martial arts, and body techniques. In the Tianwu Kingdom, a 7th-grade martial arts school can become the core inheritance of a major force, but in the Hunters Guild there are so many. With such heritage, it really makes Luo Xiu amazed. For Luo Xiu, the skills of the 7th-level martial arts are of little significance, and they are only lacking in martial arts and body skills. After selection, he chose a martial art called Fire Sword Technique, which is suitable for warriors who practice fire attribute Qi. His netherworld death flame just meets the conditions and is more powerful than ordinary flame Qi. Then, he chose another movement technique called Chasing the Wind and Chasing the Moon, which was much more sophisticated than the Shifang residual shadow movement technique. After reaching the level of martial arts cultivation of the God Refining martial sect, one can control the air and fly, and ordinary body movements and martial arts will have no effect. Therefore, the movement techniques suitable for martial arts training of the God Refining and above are also called the techniques of controlling the air, which can improve the level of flying. The speed of flight, the Chasing the Wind and Chasing the Moon technique chosen by Luo Xiu can be used as a technique to control the air after reaching the level of God Refining. Seeing that Luo Xiu did not choose any technique, Xuanhuan was not surprised, because with Luo Xiu's current strength, he must have had some luck. In addition to 7th-grade martial arts, Huang-level geniuses can also receive 1,000 mid-grade vitality stones as training resources every year. 1,000 mid-grade vitality stones may not seem like much, but if converted into low-grade vitality stones, it would be 100,000, which is almost as much as the net worth of an ordinary martial king. Among the yellow-level geniuses, only the upper-level Huang-level geniuses have 1,000 middle-grade vitality stones. Both the lower-level and middle-level talents can only obtain martial arts skills. The higher the genius level, the more attention it will receive. After all, even the Hunters Guild has limited resources. In less than 2 years, the Xianyu secret realm will be opened. It will definitely be a battle between dragons and tigers. Before the Xianyu secret realm opens, there will be a battle for quotas. All the forces in the 13 counties people will be sent to participate when the time comes. This is the second time Luo Xiu has heard about the mysterious realm, but he doesn't know how it compares with the mysterious realm of 10,000 demons. The secret realm is a special space left by the strong men of ancient times, which hides all kinds of mysterious mysteries. There are 3 major secret realms in the Tianwu Kingdom, namely the Xianyu secret realm, the Purgatory secret realm, and the 10,000 monsters secret realm. The Xianyu secret realm is filled with an extremely cold atmosphere. In that special environment, many heavenly materials and earthly treasures, as well as various precious treasures, have been bred. No matter what kind of martial arts you practice, you can get experience and countless benefits in the mysterious realm. The only prerequisite is that you can survive in the secret realm. The various forces in the Tianwu Kingdom are complicated, and the number of places to enter the secret realm is limited, and they need to compete with each other. The restriction for entering the secret realm is under 30 years old and above the Xiantian realm. If the conditions for entering the secret realm are not met, even a strong martial lord cannot forcefully break into the secret space. Generally, the competition for quotas will be held in advance. The 13 counties combined will have a total of 10 quotas. This means that only those who get in the top 10 in the battle will have the opportunity to enter the Xuanyu secret realm. In addition, the 6 states of Tianwu Kingdom each have 10 quotas, and the Tianwu Kingdom's royal family also has 10 quotas. Altogether, there are only 80 people who can enter the Xuanyu secret realm. There are hundreds of millions of martial arts practitioners in the Tianwu Kingdom. Once these 80 places are competed for, they will represent the 80 most powerful people of the younger generation in the Tianwu Kingdom. This will be a competition of talents. In the Hunters Guild, Luo Xiu was given a secret room to practice alone. In the secret room, Luo Xiu sat cross-legged and took out the middle-grade vitality stones from the storage ring, as well as some high-grade vitality stones that he had obtained from the relics of martial lord Su Jingyun. These vitality stones were piled together, and the precious light overflowed in an instant, filling the entire secret room. The rich vitality of heaven and earth was released, and one could feel the slow improvement of one's own cultivation with just a breath. Luo Xiu took out the 5th-level spirit gathering array disc and prepared to use the power of these vitality stones to break through to the 9th level of innate cultivation. Compared with Tianwu Kingdom, Yunlong and Dohai counties are very insignificant, and compared with this world, Tianwu Kingdom is also insignificant. As he thought, the wheels of life and death in the Dantian Qi Sea began to rotate. Luo Xiu was fully confident that his steps would not be limited to this corner. But before that, you must first improve your own strength. Only with the strength of Lord Wu can you gain a foothold in Tianwu Kingdom without looking at anyone's face. Taking a deep breath, Luo Xiu knew that although he had potential, his current strength was still too weak. He was no match for any strong man above the 4th level of God refining. With the rotation technique, the rich vitality of heaven and earth swarmed into the body, and the strands of life and death true energy condensed in the Dantian. The wheels of life and death rotated faster and faster, and became more solid. At the same time, the second picture of the original law appeared in his mind, and he understood the mystery of life and death. Nowadays, Shura's name is well known in Dohai County. No matter how widely rumored the so-called false reputation was, in the next 2 months, Luo Xiu did not leave the secret room even half a step, and time passed quietly. On the road of martial arts, if you don't advance, you will retreat. In this hard-working state of cultivation, Luo Xiu's cultivation has also progressed rapidly, and the true energy of the 2 extremes of life and death has become more solid and stronger. But in Leiwu's sect, Lu Mengyao encountered trouble. When she was 15 years old, Huiyang Jimui disease occurred, which not only caused her cultivation to plummet, but also put her life in danger. In order to suppress the condition of Huiyang Jimui, her father Lu Feichen tried his best to find various ice-type elixirs and treasures to help her suppress the power of Huiyang in her body. In the Snow Mountain prefecture of the Tianwu Kingdom, there is a sect called the Tianshan Snow Sect. It has a core inheritance technique called Bingxin Ju, which is an 8th-level martial arts. Lu Feichen once took Lu Mengyao to Snow Mountain State, hoping to ask for Bingxin Ju for Lu Mengyao to practice, so that he could use the power of ice to neutralize the power of Huiyang. After a few years, the Huiyang Jumai might be cured. However, the 8th-level martial arts is the core inheritance, and Tianshan Snow Sect will not pass it on to outsiders. However, the son of the leader of Tianshan Snow Sect fell in love with Lu Mengyao and proposed to let her marry him, so he passed on the Bingxin Ju technique to her. The young master of Shanshu's sect that day was ugly and had an extremely bad reputation, so Lu Mengyao flatly refused and would rather die than marry. Naturally, this matter was left alone at the beginning, but now, something unexpected happened in Xiaoyao's sect. Lu Feichen died, and Lu Mengyao left Dohai County and became a disciple of Leiwu's sect. When the young master of the Snow Sect learned about this, he came directly to the Leiwu sect to propose marriage. When he was at Xiaoyao's sect, he had the protection of his father Lu Feichen and his ancestor Kong Qingyu, so it was fine, but in this Leiwu sect, she has no relatives. Even though Lu Pengcheng takes good care of her, after all, she is just a protector in the Leiwu sect and is ignored. Mengyao, the Tianshan Snow Sect has grown in power over the years and controls a state far beyond what the Leiwu sect can. If you marry the young master of the Snow Sect, the benefits will be unimaginable. In the room, Lu Pengcheng was persuading Lu Mengyao. I will never marry him even if I die. Lu Mengyao refused without hesitation, feeling a little sad in her heart. If it were her father, Lu Feichen, as long as she didn't want to marry, no matter how powerful the Xuanhuan sect was that day, he would never force himself to do it. Even though Uncle Luo was a life-and-death friend to her father, he treated her well, but the relationship was still not that close after all. For Luo Pengcheng and the senior leaders of Leiwu's sect, being able to marry into the Tianshan Snow sect is undoubtedly a powerful alliance. Why not? Meng Yao, Uncle Luo treats you well. Ever since you joined the Leiwu sect, he has never let you suffer the slightest injustice, right? Luo Pengcheng sighed and said, Uncle, I can't make a decision for you on this matter. The sect leader has already agreed to the marriage proposal from the young master of the Snow sect. I won't marry. Lu Mengyao's attitude was as determined as ever. She couldn't help but think of Luo Xiu again. If there weren't many changes, Luo Xiu would definitely be by her side, right? It's just that things like fate are really helpless. She also knows very well that the relationship between herself and Luo Xiu will be difficult to return to the way it was before. Chapter 100 Shura Reappears, 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 100 Shura reappears. In the secret room, Luo Xiu, who was practicing in seclusion, suddenly opened his eyes. For some reason, he always felt a little uneasy. After martial arts cultivators enter the innate realm, they activate their soul perception. As their cultivation level increases, their soul perception will become stronger and stronger, and they will have a premonition. After more than 2 months of seclusion, he has cultivated to the 9th level of innate realm, and became a great martial artist from a martial artist, and just when he was stabilizing his newly achieved breakthrough, Lu Mengyao's face suddenly appeared in his mind. She had a sad face and tears in her eyes. Could it be that she ran into trouble in the Leiwu sect? Although there was a slight grudge between the two because of her father Lu Feichen, but in Luo Xiu's heart, his feelings for Lu Mengyao were sincere. Even if we can't be together and become friends on the road of martial arts, we are still good friends who have gone through thick and thin together. Thinking about this, he had no intention of continuing to retreat, so he stood up and walked out of the secret room. When he first came to the Dohai County Guild branch, the old man who received him was named Xuanhuan. He was the elder of the Dohai County Guild branch and was an externally recruited member. Sa Lao, has anything happened in Liwaman recently? Luo Xiu found Xuanhuan and asked directly. The Hunters Guild has the most detailed intelligence information of all kinds. As a genius member and possesses a yellow-level upper-level license, Luo Xiu can obtain a lot of information from the guild for free. It's the same reason as when he got the simplified map of Guanlei Mountains from the guild. The various resources at the Hunters Guild's disposal are far beyond what ordinary forces can match. If we talk about things that have happened in Leiwu sect, there have indeed been a few of them recently. Xuanhuan pondered for a moment and said, first of all, more than 2 months ago, Lei Weilong, the leader of the Leiwu sect, and Gong Sun Qinji tracked down an injured martial lord whose cultivation level had declined, but ultimately returned without success. Then a black-robed young man named Shura appeared from the sky, threatening that one day he would break through the Lei Wuman and take the head of Lei Weilong. Then, not long ago, the young master of the Shui sect came to Dohai County to visit the Leiwu sect to propose marriage to a woman named Lu Mengyao, who was originally the daughter of the head of the Xiaoyao sect in Yunlong County. Based on the information the Hunters Guild had, it was natural to know that the so-called black-robed Shura boy was the Luo Xiu in front of him. Since Luo Xiu had threatened to break through the Leiwu sect and take the head of Lei Weilong, he asked for information about the Leiwu sect, and Xuanhuan told it directly. Luo Xiu frowned. These 3 things about Leiwu's sect were all related to him. The injured martial lord that Lei Weilong and Gong Sun Qinji were following was undoubtedly Yan Yue, and just as he guessed the source of his uneasiness, it was also because something happened to Lu Mengyao. At this moment, Luo Xiu heard a commotion on the street outside the Hunters Guild, and within the range of Luo Xiu's life perception, a breath of life that was familiar to him appeared. Mengyao. Luo Xiu's body moved and disappeared directly in front of Xuanhuan. His body moved like a strong wind, and silver light shone under his feet, like chasing the wind and the moon. This is the 7th level movement method of chasing the wind and chasing the moon. The speed of body movement is much faster than that of Shifang residual shadow movement method. After more than 2 months of seclusion and hard training, Luo Xiu had not only improved his cultivation level, but also completed the 2 7th-level martial arts he had just obtained. With profound martial arts skills, these 2 7th-level martial arts have also been cultivated to the level of Deshang in the shortest time. After sensing Lu Menyao's life breath, Luo Xiu rushed out of the Hunters' Guild without thinking. In just a dozen breaths, he saw Lu Menyao's figure in his sight. Lu Menyao's face was pale, her steps were a little shaky, and she was staggering towards the Hunters' Guild. Not far behind her, several martial arts cultivators were chasing after her, shouting angrily at her, telling her to stop. Pedestrians along the way all shunned them, recognizing the Lei Wu Sect's logo on these martial arts cultivators, for fear of causing harm to Qi Yu and getting into trouble. As long as I escape into the Hunters' Guild, the people from the Lei Wu Sect will definitely not dare to catch me in the Hunters' Guild. Seeing that he was about to escape to the Hunters' Guild, Lu Menyao's eyes were filled with hope. Luo Xiu, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Lu Menyao was startled, and her voice was slightly trembling. Menyao, what's wrong with you? Luo Xiu walked over, frowning and looking at the several martial arts cultivators from Lei Wu Sect chasing behind her. Lu Menyao, as a core disciple, you dare to defect to the sect secretly, and why don't you just surrender and come back with us to plead guilty? 4 martial arts cultivators leaped after him, and one of them shouted sternly. Luo Xiu already knew what happened to Lu Menyao in the Lei Wu Sect. She escaped from the Lei Wu Sect because she undoubtedly did not want to marry the so-called young master of the Snow Sect, so, he stepped forward, looked coldly at the 4 Lei Wu Sect martial artists, and said only one word, get out. Among these 4 people, 2 were born at the 7th level, 1 was at the 8th level, and the other was a 9th level innate martial artist. Luo Xiu also noticed that Lu Menyao's cultivation had also reached the 2nd level of innate realm, which was not surprising, because before Lu Menyao's Huiyang Jumai disease occurred, she had extremely high talents, and she was only 1 step away from breaking through her innate abilities. After the Huiyang Jumui healed, it was normal for her to break through her innate ability so quickly. You bastard, you want to be a hero and save the beauty? Do you dare to swim in the water of my Lei Wu Sect? Kill him. The leading martial artist showed murderous intent and ordered the 3 innate martial arts masters around him. Without saying a word, the 3 innate martial arts masters used their skills, drew their swords, and rushed over with ferocious smiles on their faces. In this Dohai County, no one has ever dared to be so arrogant in front of the Lei Wu Sect. Such stupid people are really rare. Don't say that these people are here to capture Lu Menyao, even if they are not, because of Yan Yuer. Luo Xiu doesn't have the slightest affection for Lei Wuman, but only has the intention to kill. He moved without even drawing out his sword. He opened his 5 fingers and condensed the netherworld death flame. He condensed 5 black flame sword energy and enveloped the 3 innate martial arts masters who rushed over. A cold breath of death spreads, and the chill is awe-inspiring. Puff. Before a 7th level innate martial artist could react, his body was torn apart by 5 black flame sword energies in an instant, and blood splattered all over the sky. He is a great martial artist. The innate 8th level martial artist sensed the aura emitted by Luo Xiu, and his face was horrified. However, before he could finish his sentence, 5 terrifying black flame sword energy flew towards him, accompanied by a popping sound. He fell to his knees covered with scars. As for the remaining 7th level innate martial artist, Luo Xiu punched out, shattering the mid-level human-level sword in his hand with a clang. The body-protecting energy was like paper, and was shattered by fists in an instant. His chest was dented directly by Luo Xiu's fist, and his body flew back more than 10 feet, with blood mist flying, and he died on the spot. 3 late-stage Xiantian martial arts masters were instantly killed by him in a single encounter. With basically no power to resist, the crowd of people watching on the street were stunned. The great martial artist on the opposite side also had an awe-inspiring look on his face. He held a sword with a blue light in his hand and stared at Luo Xiu warily. He was also a great martial artist, so he thought that he would never be able to kill 3 late Xiantian warriors so cleanly and neatly. Who are you? You dare to kill people from our Lei Wu sect in the street. The great martial artist knew that he was no match for this person. As he spoke, he slowly backed away. If you kill the martial arts cultivator of Lei Wu sect in Dohai County, a strong god refiner will take action to kill this person, so there is no need to fight for it yourself. Moreover, the young man in black robes in front of him seems to be quite similar to the Shura, who appeared some time ago. It is said that the method used by that Shura is also this kind of black flame sword energy, and it is a high-level combat body that can shatter human-level objects. Quality war soldiers, many conditions matched, and he was 90% sure that this person was Shura. This Shura can even kill a half-step god refiner, killing a great martial artist like a dog. Seeing the changing expression of this Luo sect great martial artist, Luo Xiu knew that the other party had probably guessed that he was Shura. However, he didn't care about exposing his identity, because he would soon follow Xuanhuan to participate in the battle for quotas in the Xianyu secret realm. When he came back again, he might not have the strength to compete with King Wu. As for his relatives, they were protected by the Hunters Guild, and even if he gave Lei Weilong 100 courages, he wouldn't dare to touch them. As for the great martial artist in front of him, Luo Xiu would not spare his life. He had already given them the opportunity to get out. Now that he had attacked him, he would only die. Chasing the Wind and Chasing the Moon was launched, and Luo Xiu appeared in front of the great martial artist almost instantly. A stream of ghostly death flames poured out from his body, turning into a black flame sword light, forming a large net, sealing the opponent. All escape routes. This move is the martial skill recorded in the fire sword art. The great martial artist had always been vigilant. When he saw Luo Xiu making a move, he reacted instantly. The sword in his hand brought out a bolt of lightning and struck out fiercely. This sword is a high-grade human-level sword. He spent almost all his savings to buy it not long ago. Many powerful warriors of the Shenlian Wuzong only use soldiers of this level. However, human-level warriors were regarded as a treasure by the great martial artist, but in front of Luo Xiu, they were like a joke. His physical body has already reached the limit of an advanced combat body, and he is only one step away from the peak combat body. Pointing out a finger, the high-grade human-level sword trembled violently, and the powerful transfer of power made the great martial artist of Luo sect's mouth numb when holding the sword, and his entire arm almost lost consciousness. This frightened the great martial arts master of Luo sect, and he immediately took out a jade talisman from the storage ring as quickly as possible, but before he could crush the jade talisman to activate it, a large net of black flame sword light enveloped him, and his broken body fell to the ground bleeding profusely. This is an attack talisman refined by a 4th-level formation master, which can inspire an attack comparable to that of the god-refining martial sect. He originally thought that as long as he activated this talisman, even if he could not kill the opponent, he could take the opportunity to escape. However, he did not expect that the opponent's attack speed was too fast and he was killed before he could activate the talisman. Luo Xiu, you. Lu Mengyao never expected that Luo Xiu was already so powerful. The great martial artist was as vulnerable as a chicken or a dog in front of him. Could it be that he is really the Shura in the rumors? Seeing Luo Xiu skillfully putting away the treasures stored by the 4 killed martial arts masters, Lu Mengyao was in a trance and had some delusions. What had Luo Xiu experienced during the time he was separated from her? In just 1 year, he had broken through from the 2nd level of body refining to the 9th level of innate martial arts. She understood why he couldn't wait to escape in the first place, for fear that Uncle Luo would be interested in his secrets. If it were before, she was sure that Uncle Luo would not do anything to Luo Xiu, but after experiencing this incident, she found that Uncle Luo was not as nice as she thought, because the 4 people who came to arrest him were Luo Pengcheng's men. Without Luo Pengcheng's order, how could they dare to treat him like this? Let's go to the Hunters Guild first. Luo Xiu put away the 4 storage rings, and then said to Lu Mengyao, who was still in a daze. Ah! Lu Mengyao was a little distracted and didn't pay attention to what Luo Xiu said. I have killed 4 people from the Luo sect. Masters of God refining and above will come soon. Let's leave as soon as possible. Luo Xiu said something more, then took Lu Mengyao's hand and walked towards the Hunters Guild. Of course, no one from the crowd of people watching nearby dared to stop him, because this evil star was most likely Shura, killing a great martial artist like a dog. In Dohai County, the Luo sect is the well-deserved overlord, and even the masters at the god level do not dare to offend easily. However, all the forces in Dohai County are afraid of the power of Luo sect, but the 4 major guilds are not among them. Almost all the formation mages in the world are from the Formation Mages Guild. Almost all alchemists in the world are from the Alchemist Guild. Almost all foundries in the world belong to the Foundry Guild. All forces train their own formation masters, alchemists, and casters, and they will also send them to these 3 major guilds to learn. As for the Hunter Guild, almost all martial arts cultivators in the world sign up in the guild to obtain the corresponding hunter badge level. The head of the Gongsun family, Gongsun Shenji, is a 5th level formation master. It is said that he is the registered disciple of the branch president of the Formation Masters Guild. Among the 4 major guilds, the status of the Hunters Guild is even more transcendent, being the first of the 4 major guilds. The Hunters Guild has set rules. No matter who your enemy is, as long as you enter the Hunters Guild, you will be protected by the guild. Anyone who dares to take action in the guild will seek death and will be chased by the strong men of the Hunters Guild. Kill, a rule that protects martial arts cultivators all over the world, can be said to be both loved and hated. At the same time, the news of Shura's reappearance spread throughout the entire county like a storm in an instant.